Oh no, guys, what are we doing with Kamala Harris? What is going on? I'm not the only one who agrees. There are tons of people on the right who agree. And guess what? The Young Turks, Chunky Yogurt, as you guys would say, they're all upset. Let's watch.
If we can go into our time machine and go back to 2020, well, every time that someone tried to interject the truth about Kamala, which is that she slept her way to the top, it's a fact. She was with some 6-year-old man, got her start in the political career.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
And they would go, oh my gosh, how dare you say this? That's so sexist. Well, then suddenly on July 6th, the Daily Mail actually published a headline about the fact that Kamala Harris was, thoughting through life.
Over the past 24 hours, right-wing
Thoughting through life, man, that's funny.
have shifted their rhetoric to immediately attack presumptive Democratic nominee Kamala Harris with racist and sexist rhetoric. Unfortunately, there's more video where that came from. Let's watch some of those clips from Fox News and Newsmax. Take a look.
And the big challenge, the deliciousness of it all, is this woman who is literally a DEI hire, a woman who laughs about little yellow school buses and Venn diagrams, who cackles like an insane woman. How are you going to jump? How are you going to skip over her because she's female and her skin color is the correct DEI color?
Joe Biden chose her not because she was some wonderful politician. Joe Biden did not choose her based on merit. He chose her based on the same criteria of DEI that got Trump shot.
Well, assuming, Jesse, that it ends up being Kamala Harris
Shots fired, no pun intended.
as the nominee, and I know a lot of big Democrats are endorsing her, but the one voice that's been silent on Kamala is Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama. They've been very quiet. So I think maybe Michelle Obama still may be in the mix. That being said, if in fact they go ahead
wait a
with
second.
Kamala
Is
Harris,
Michelle Obama's in the mix? Is she in the mix in Chicago, in her hometown?
they can position her as the reluctant candidate. She's a woman of color, so that squares the Kamala Harris circle, being a
Woman? Question mark.
minority and a DEI hire.
Meanwhile, the Trump campaign put out an ad that largely avoids that rhetoric, but does hit Harris on her laugh. Take a look.
If you ever wondered how Joe Biden could get the border so screwed up, remember, he had help.
Yeah, not watching a Trump boomer campaign. Let's just see Chunky Yogurt and the gang. Let's watch them respond to this. Sometimes I feel like we are in an alternate universe, like George Washington. If I were to have a conversation with him, travel back in time, be like, hey, guess what? We're going to create a two-party system. And eventually that two-party system is going to, one of those parties is going to push out a black woman as president. I feel like he would start rewriting some of the things in the Constitution effective immediately.
She was supposed to be in charge of that, created issues. And then there's stylistic things like the laugh. You might think that it's terrible to make fun of her for that, etc. But that is going to affect some voters. Her word salads like, I have been to the border, I have been to the border, was kind of a disaster. That's why I was a little bit worried about her. She's gotten much better recently on that. But Jordan, to the heart of your question about the illegitimate attacks, right? So Candace Owens claiming she slept her way to the top. I mean, it's just it's a terrible thing to say, right? And Charlie Kirk there saying is a DEI pick and the kind of DEI that got Trump shot. What? What are you talking about? So first off, if you said, look.
He's got a point right here. He's got a point. That is like, wait, what? I don't get that.
Partly they.
Oh, I get it. That took me 2 seconds to piece together, but I get where Charlie Kirk's coming from. The DEI that allowed Trump to get shot is because of the Secret Service that was there was largely female and definitely not qualified to be protecting Donald Trump. And that's what he's saying. Listen, these DEI hires and everything like that, because these people are in positions they shouldn't be, it leads to disasters like Donald Trump not being pulled when he should have been pulled, not being told, hey, there's somebody on the roof right there. Don't go up and give your speech. Took me 2 seconds to piece that together. I'm surprised Chunky Yogurt couldn't. Psych. No, I'm not.
They picked her to appeal to female voters and black voters because Joe Biden's an old white male, and they were thinking of demographics. Okay, that'd be fair, but then you would have to admit that Barack Obama picked Joe Biden as his VP because he was an old white male. So was that DEI? I never saw anybody criticizing that. I never saw anybody talking about race or gender about that. Now all of a sudden when it's Kamala Harris, they go and do this. But Jordan, on those illegitimate attacks, I'm not only am I not too concerned about it, I don't want to say I'm excited about it because that's not the right thing to say, but I think that they're going to backfire. And so that's why I think it's not such a bad thing that these knuckleheads are out there saying these outrageous things, because when people see that, I think a lot of women, when they see Candace Owens saying the ugly thing about how she slept her the way to the top or whatever, yeah, your aggro male audience might like that, but they were gonna vote for Trump anyway. And I think that's gonna turn a lot of women voters off and is gonna be super counterproductive for Republicans and Trump. So have at it, Hoss.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree. You know, this group right here, they've been telling everybody that you're internally racist and internally misogynistic. And then they put a black woman up and then they say that this is going to backfire. But if people are internally sexist and internally misogynistic because of the patriarchy and our country being built on white supremacy or whatever it is that they say, it's just like, isn't that going to backfire on you if what you're saying is true? Aren't people going to hear this rhetoric and be like, you know what? I agree. I don't know why, but something internally in my DNA is screaming that this is the truth. It's like there's so much bullshit that it's so hard to even really understand where they're coming from or what they're saying. I just genuinely disagree with what he's saying, not even because of the internalized racist or misogyny. I just think that people respect Candace Owens far more than they respect Chunky Yogurt or Kamala Harris. Really, that's what I think. Let me know what you think.
No, I think that's exactly right. It is playing to a base that is already going to show up for you when this race is going to be won in the margins and in the middle. And their behavior, this rhetoric, it is so off-putting to just the average American. You have to be super online, super read in, and super conservative for this stuff to land well. Otherwise, you're going to hear that and be like, what is that?
No, actually, you have to be super online to even see that from Candace, by the way.
What are you talking about? Like the DEI stuff is just a right-wing cult talking point. To anybody else, we've talked about this before. We talked about this last week. That's just standard at every company. The right wing politically is trying to make it into an issue, but the average person, the average moderator.
Dude, DEI isn't a thing. That's just like average, what everybody at every company does. What, DEI? What? Every company? Okay, so because every company does it, we're just supposed to act like it's not a thing. It's just a right-wing talking point. It's a right-wing talking point because it's a thing. Come on, bro. What is this guy even talking about? Who even is he?
Is not going to care about that because they associate that with fairness and equity, which is something that most people understand as a good thing. Reasonably, it's a reasonable point. Just like you have an accounting department, to pull from your example last.
Bro, shut up. What is equality? Okay. What is equality? It's you have the same opportunity that I have, right? What is fairness? Like these questions, they are so subjective now, and they've been so watered down with Marxism, with communism, that you don't even understand what equality means. Equality is not, I'm going to lower the standards of what it takes to be a hireable person based off of skin color. That's not equality. Am I the only one who knows this? I know you guys know this, but these people on the left are so brainwashed with communism, with Marxism, that they don't understand that lowering your standards or meeting a quota is not equality. If they need 10% of black people and they already have 90% white people, and you go in for that job opportunity and you're the most qualified, but you're not black, that's equality? Really? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not equality. That's not fair. That's not justice. That's not all of these words that you love to scream and talk about. Come on, bro. What are you talking about? This is just ridiculous.
Last week, you also want to have some element within HR to make sure everyone is treated fairly. That's great. So I think that's going to backfire. And that's not even the worst stuff that I've seen in the past 24 hours. They're going after her for not having her own kids, her having stepkids. That's going to be weird and alienating to people. All of these different types of behaviors, when the average voter sees them, is going to be off-put by them, because it shows what a weird cult of personality has built around Trump and the overly specific, hyper-personal issues that they're glomming onto and trying to weaponize.
No, once again, her not having children says a lot. Says a lot about her character. Listen, I'm going to take a female president who has kids, who stayed out of the spotlight, who stayed out of politics, who stayed out of red carpet premieres with rappers who they were dressing provocatively with. I'm going to pick that girl over Kamala Harris, who doesn't have any kids, who's a stepmother, who's not even a active stepmother because she's the vice president. Any day of the week. It's not cultic. It's just logic. It's just common sense. That's all I have to say. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're there, please make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.